Hello everyone and welcome to another video. My track guide for VIR, the full layout in the MX5. Let's get to it. For qualifying you want to be all the way on the left, but in the race turn 1 is a really good overtaking opportunity. I brake halfway between the two on the one board here on the left, and you want to be braking hard. I aim to go to 95% brake pressure, and you want to ease off all the way to the curb. Just before you get to the curb you should be off the brake again. I go on the curb at the top of the corner, and once I'm on that curb I'll apply the throttle again. You don't want to come out too far to the left. I aim to come out around the middle of the track because we want to get the car over to the right for turn 2 and 3. So if you go wider than mid-track, you've applied the throttle too early. We're gonna stay on the right here, so we're gonna sacrifice turn 2 a little bit. You don't want to go all the way to the curb. We do that to open up turn 3 a lot more. My braking marker for turn 3 is not the clearest, but I try and use the curb here on the left as my braking marker. Once I pass that, I'll apply the brake for a little bit, a quick hit to about 50% before easing off the brake. The aim is to cut the curb on the inside as much as you can. Once I'm on the curb, I'll go full throttle again, and of course use all of the available room here out on the right. For turn 4, my braking marker is not that clear either. You can see that the road changes color here just in front of us. Once I get onto that, I'll apply the brake, and I'll go to about 80% brake pressure. Again, the aim is to cut the curb on the inside as much as we can, because we want the car a bit more over to the left, so we open up turn 5 a bit more. Once I'm on the curb, I'll ease in the throttle. I do this to keep the car stable. The aim is to come out about mid-track before turning in for turn 5. And from there, you should be able to keep full throttle all the way up to turn 10. So you need to be smooth with your inputs here, so the car doesn't understeer or oversteer or you scrub off too much speed. For turn 6, I go on the curb. Don't take too much curb because it will unsettle the car and you will lose a bit of speed. And as I said, now we are full throttle all the way up to turn 10. So it's very important to get that sequence right, so you get on the throttle as early as possible. Because even though we have turns, we go full throttle all the time. For 7, 8 and 9, cut every curb. And again, full throttle, drive as few meters as possible. And for turn 10, you want to be all the way on the right. I don't have a clear braking marker for turn 10. There's a little patch in the road here just in front of us. I don't know if it's gonna be seen on all graphics, but I try and use this as my reference. We do only a quick hit to the brake to about 40%, and we're quickly off it again. You can use a very light trail braking here if you feel that is needed. When I get to the curb, I'll go full throttle again. And you want to use all of the curb on the outside, but do not go on the grass because that will really unsettle the car and you'll fly into the wall. For turn 11 and 12, my braking marker is the two board here on the left. I go to about 80% brake pressure. I start to ease it off by turn 11, but I keep braking all the way to turn 12. After passing turn 11, I will have a little spike to help the car stop a little bit more. The car is very light here, so it's easy to overdo it. I aim to get as close as I can to the curb of turn 12 without hitting it too much. Just before I get to the curb, I'll go on the throttle again, but not full throttle before I'm past the curb. And of course use all of the curb here on the outside as well. It's important to get a good exit here because we're going on to the longest straight of the track. For qualifying you can just chill all the way down this straight. You might see your time go up if you got a good exit, and you might see the time go down if you got a bad exit. But in the race, drafting here can be really strong, so keep that in mind when getting to the next turns. When qualifying you want to be all the way on the right, and here I actually turn in before I even start to brake. I turn in by the one board, and I use the arrow here on the right as my braking marker. Here you want to be braking really hard in the beginning because we're going uphill. I go to about 85% brake pressure, and we're quickly easing off the brake because we're going over a hill. I hold the brake all the way to the second curb. Once you go over the little top, you can do one more stab on the brake, and I stab the brake again for about 80% brake pressure before quickly going off. I hit the curb here on the left first to open up the next turn a bit more. And then I get on the curb, and you want to go on the second curb as much as you can. And once you're on that curb, you'll go on the throttle again. I've got on, for this one, I didn't have to lift again when I went on the throttle the first time. I could see it when I reviewed the lap after. Now you want to go all the way over to the right to open up the last turn a bit more. For the last turn, it's important to get a good exit. We don't brake before we get off the curb here in front of us. I only go off the throttle. You want to be all the way up on this curb to open up the last turn a lot more. Once I get off the curb, I'll go on the brake to about 40%, and the second curb I aim to cut a little bit less. In this run I cut it way too hard, and you'll see what it will do to lap time. Once you're off the second curb, you should be able to go full throttle again, and now take the shortest route possible. So I cut the curb way too much on this one, and you can see what it does to the lap time. It just goes down and down and down. So it could have been a better time, but I couldn't string it together, so it is what it is. And that's my lap around VIR for a 208.3. If you enjoyed this track guide, I have more linked down below in a little playlist for the MX5. And if you did like it, leave a like down below, consider subscribing as well. And now for the uninterrupted hot laps.